The gunshot echoed across the dry Namibian plains as Kambonde pressed his weathered hand against the bleeding wound on his side. Before him stood Queen Depwa, the most powerful woman in 5 villages, her royal beads clinking as she grabbed his collar with desperate strength. "You bring back my son alive, Kambonde," she hissed, her eyes wild with a mother's terror, "and I will give you what no man in this land has ever possessed. I will make you king. You will rule beside me." Kambonde staggered backward, his 60-year-old bones protesting. Behind the queen, her guards lay scattered like broken dolls, and the dust still hung in the air where the trucks had disappeared with her only child, 12-year-old Prince Tutaleni. The boy's screams still rang in Kambonde's ears. "Your Majesty, I am just an old cattle herder," he gasped, blood seeping between his fingers. "I have not fired a gun in 15 years. I am nobody." Queen Depwa's face transformed into something terrible and beautiful at once. She seized his jaw, forcing him to meet her gaze. "You are the greatest tracker in Kunena region. Men feared your name. You found what could not be found. You caught what could not be caught." Her voice dropped to a whisper that somehow felt louder than a shout. "The rebels who took my son are heading to the Skeleton Coast. They will kill him in 3 days when the ransom deadline passes. The police cannot help me. The army moves too slowly. Only you can disappear into that desert and bring him back." Kambonde looked at his small homestead in the distance, where his goats grazed peacefully. He had promised himself never again. Never again would he track men instead of animals. Never again would he become the hunter he once was. "If I refuse," he asked quietly. The queen released him, and her next words fell like stones into 24 hours earlier. Kambonde had been mending his fence when the royal convoy appeared like a mirage through the heat waves. 3 black vehicles moving across the red earth toward his isolated homestead, where he had lived alone for 17 years. His hands had trembled as he recognized the golden lion emblems on the doors. Royalty never brought good news to forgotten men. Queen Depwa had emerged wearing traditional Herero dress, her presence transforming his humble yard into something that suddenly felt too small, too poor. Her guards formed a semicircle, hands resting on holstered weapons. "Kambonde Shipenga," she had announced, her voice carrying the authority of a woman who ruled over 30,000 people. "I have a business proposal." He had offered her the only chair he owned, giving her water from his last clean container. She did not drink it. Instead, she studied him with eyes that seemed to calculate his worth down to the last Namibian dollar. "My son will be returning from boarding school in Windhoek tomorrow," she began. "He is 12 years old. Intelligent. Brave. The future of our people." She paused, and something flickered across her face. Vulnerability, perhaps, or fear. "There are men who do not want him to inherit my throne. Men who remember the old ways, who believe a woman cannot rule, and that her son is therefore illegitimate." Kambonde had said nothing, already sensing where this path would lead. "I need someone to escort him from the airstrip to the palace. Just 10 kilometers. Someone skilled. Someone the rebels would not expect." She leaned forward. "I will pay you 50,000 Namibian dollars. Enough to buy a new herd. Enough to repair this place. Enough to finally live comfortably in your retirement." "Why me?" Kambonde had asked, though he knew. Everyone in Kunena region knew his legend, even if they thought he was dead or had fled to South Africa. "Because 20 years ago, you tracked a leopard for 6 days through the Brandberg Mountains. Because you once found a lost child in the Namib desert using only a piece of torn cloth and your instincts. Because men used to say that Kambonde Shipenga could track a ghost across solid rock." She smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. "And because you are desperate. This homestead is dying." Kambonde rode into the night on his oldest horse, following tracks that most men would never see. The rebels had a 12-hour head start, but they were city boys playing at Revolution. They left signs everywhere. Broken branches. Disturbed stones. The faint smell of cheap cigarettes carried on the wind. His side screamed with pain, but he had packed the wound with herbs his grandmother taught him about 50 years ago. The bullet had passed through cleanly. He would survive if infection did not take him first. Queen Dapwa had given him 3 days. The rebels' ransom message had been clear: 10 million Namibian dollars, or the prince dies at sunset on the 3rd day. But Kambonde knew something the queen did not. He recognized the boot prints at the ambush site. He had seen that particular tread pattern before in 1998, in another life. These were not rebels. These were mercenaries. South African, probably. Experienced. Deadly. By dawn, he reached the abandoned mining settlement near Tora Bay. The Atlantic Ocean crashed against the skeleton coast in the distance, sending salt spray across the desert. This was where shipwrecks came to die, where the cold Benguela current met burning sand, where men went mad from isolation. The tracks led to an old processing plant, its corrugated iron walls bleeding rust. Kambonde dismounted, moving with the silence that had once made him legendary. Through a gap in the wall, he saw them. 5 men, heavily armed, sitting around a fire. And in the corner, tied to a support beam, was Prince Tutaleni. The boy's face was bruised but defiant. He had not cried. Kambonde felt unexpected respect for the child. Then he saw the 6th man emerge from the shadows, and his heart stopped. Jacob Bux. The same Jacob Bux who had been his partner in 1998. The same Jacob who had witnessed what happened in the Caprivi Strip during the secession conflict. The same Jacob who was supposed to be dead, killed in a car accident 3 years ago, according to the newspaper Kambonde had read in a Opuo cafe. But here he stood, very much alive, lighting a cigarette with steady hands. "The Queen sends her regards," Jacob called out suddenly, looking directly at the gap where Kambonde hid. "Yes, old friend, I know you are there. I can smell that terrible herb medicine you always use. Come out, or I put a bullet in the prince's knee." Kambonde had no choice. He stepped into the open, hands raised. Jacob smiled, and it was the smile of a crocodile. Kambonde Shipanga. The man who cannot be killed. The tracker who never fails. He took a long drag from his cigarette. "Tell me, does the Queen know why you really retired? Does she know about the counselor's daughter? The one who disappeared?" Kambonde's mind raced back to 1998, to the young woman named Paulina who had discovered their poaching ring in the Caprivi Strip. She was an environmental counselor's daughter, idealistic and brave. She had threatened to report them both. That night, Jacob had argued with her near the river. Kambonde had heard shouting, then silence. When he arrived, Paulina lay dead, her neck broken. Jacob had been standing over her, panicked. "Help me, brother," Jacob had begged. "It was an accident. She slipped. I swear on my mother's grave." And Kambonde, fool that he was, had helped bury her in the Caprivi wetlands where she would never be found. Then he had fled to this remote corner of Namibia, abandoning everything, carrying the guilt like a stone in his chest for 17 years. "The Queen knows everything," Jacob continued, circling him like a predator. "I told her myself 6 months ago. I told her where to find you. I told her you would do anything to keep your secret buried." He laughed bitterly. "She orchestrated this entire thing, old man. The ambush was real enough. We really do want our money. But she knew you would come. She needed someone expendable, someone with tracking skills, someone she could control with blackmail." Prince Tutaleni spoke for the first time, his voice surprisingly steady. "My mother would never." "Your mother is a politician," Jacob interrupted. "She sacrifices pawns to protect her kingdom. If Kambonde succeeds, she gets her son back. If he fails, she loses only a guilty old man and can blame his death on the kidnappers." He turned back to Kambonde. "But here is what she did not anticipate. I am offering you a choice. Help me disappear with the ransom money, and I will give you the only thing that matters, the recording I made that night in 1998. Paulina's actual last words, proving it was self-defense when she attacked me with a knife. Proof of your innocence." Kambonde's hand moved to his hidden knife. "You had proof all these years, and you let me live in exile?" "Insurance," Jacob shrugged. "I needed you silent. But now the Queen has become my problem too. She will never let either of us live once this is over. We are loose ends." The prince struggled against his ropes. Do not listen to him. My mother loves me. She would never. The radio on Jacob's belt crackled. A woman's voice came through. Queen Dapwa herself. Jacob, this is taking too long. Kill them both. The insurance will cover my son's death, and the public sympathy will cement my power for another decade. I have already selected my next heir, my nephew. A male heir the traditionalists will accept. The color drained from Prince Tutaleni's face. Jacob's expression shifted from confidence to shock. Even the other mercenaries looked disturbed. Kambonde moved in that moment of distraction. His knife flew across the space, embedding itself in the radio, destroying it. Your proof, Jacob. Give it to me now, or I let the queen hunt us all. Jacob reached slowly into his jacket and pulled out a small recording device. It is uploaded to a cloud server. Kill me, and it goes public automatically. Then we have a stalemate, Kambonde said. Unless we work together. Prince Tutaleni's voice cut through the tension, mature beyond his 12 years. My mother just ordered my death. I think we are all on the same side now. The old cowboy, the mercenary, and the prince locked eyes, 3 men betrayed by the same queen, bound now by survival. Kambonde smiled grimly. Then let us give Her Majesty exactly what she deserves. Before we finish the story, I want to ask you something. What would you have done in Kambonde's position? Would you have trusted Jacob, or would you have tried to save the prince alone? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you have been enjoying this story, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next African tale. Share this video with someone who loves a good thriller. And smash that like button if you want to see how Kambonde outsmarts the queen. Also, I am curious. Where are you watching this from? Comment your country or city below. It always amazes me how our stories travel across the world. The 3 unlikely allies worked through the night, crafting a plan as dangerous as it was brilliant. They would fake the prince's death, use Jacob's mercenary contacts to disappear the ransom money, and then expose Queen Dapwa's treachery using the very recording that had haunted Kambonde for 17 years, but with one modification. Jacob would